Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat. I'm Karen Scott Green,
And I'm Kat Hardrick.
and we are joined today with Dr. LaDena Bolton. She is the Super District 7 Commission candidate in Gwinnett County. Now, Dr. Bolton is a chemist, a wife, a mother, and a community activist. She is a lifelong Dekalb County resident. Man, she was born and raised in Dekalb, graduated from Avondale High School. Undergrad, you went to Savannah State University. I have a son who's currently there.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, PhD in chemistry from Clark Atlanta University. HBCU, okay.
In the
She's a
house.
member, yeah, a member of the National Council of Negro Women, NAACP Dekalb, Leadership Dekalb, the class of 2024. Congratulations.
Thank
She's
you.
a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated and a member of the Peachcrest Trace Homeowners Association. And if that wasn't enough, Dr. Bolton and her husband, through the Bolton Legacy Incorporated, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, which they both co-founded, distributed over $320,000 in resources to underserved DeKalb students, reaching nearly 16,000 families since 2019. Woo, man.
Mouthful, girl. Say that again 5 times.
So we have to say that on November 7th, Dr. Bolton and 4 other candidates were running in this Super District 7, which has not had anybody in that seat since March or May.
March.
Since March, when the district commissioner then ran for DeKalb County CEO, and so she was one of the 2 to make the runoff, and the runoff is on December 3rd. And for our DeKalb County residents, listeners, early voting starts November 25th and runs through the 27th. So you only have a short window to do early voting, and you have to get back out to the polls on December 3rd, that first Tuesday in December, to vote for your District 7 Super District Commissioner. So, as my girl always asks, Dr. Bolton, what is your why? What made you say, I have what DeKalb needs?
But before we get to that, can we talk about this Savannah State? Because my oldest son is 18, and he's a freshman there right now.
Is he really?
Yeah, so we both have children there.
Yeah.
What year is your son or daughter at Savannah State?
My son is a junior. He is a environmental science major.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, that's perfect because I'm a chemist. And so my son, he's going for mechanical engineering. So they should share some of the same buildings. Of course, not because he's much younger, but
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we were just for homecoming. Huh?
I love Savannah State for him. It's the right size. He's made a great group of friends since freshman year. He's involved with Players by the Sea, the theater group.
Oh, is he?
And that's his tribe.
Oh, I remember that. Honey, they used to do some plays, and a friend of ours, Michael Anthony Bell, we called him Tony Bell, but he goes by Tone Bell now. He moved out to California and became a big somebody, doing a lot of movies and sitcoms and comedy. But I mean, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get to my why, and because I know that's where we were going. But
this is what Conversation with Karen and Kat is about. Like, we just have conversations,
right? And before y'all say anything else, I'm sitting here talking, have my phone on mute because I'm screaming, "Son number 3, son number 3." Then I'm like, "Oh no,
it's
son number 2."
Yep.
Oh, girl, no, we didn't hear nothing you said. But so the motto at Savannah State is you can get anywhere from here. And when I say we believe that to the core, absolutely. I feel like everybody I was at Savannah State with is either doing what they love, doing, working in their field. Like everybody just seems to be doing very well because we really believe that you can get anywhere from that platform, that foundation that is created for every student that attends the Savannah State University.
Oh, I
I
love
love
that. I
And I
love
might
that. That
add,
is so.
I didn't grad. I
Go
ain't
ahead, Kate.
graduate, but I took some classes.
No, look at her. Oh, she want to be a tiger too. That's okay,
Yeah,
Kat.
I got listen. It's about just being in the HBCU for me. I mean, I got my degree from Georgia State, but I mean, I wanted to be like Savannah State or Howard, like Spelman, but I had to get my little bit in. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
Yeah.
love that. And then my youngest one is at Alabama A&M.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we tried to get him to Savannah, but he was trying to do his own thing. He didn't want to go where his brother was going. Like,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to make life easy for me, right? But anyway.
No, I get it. I understand that. But this is the perfect segue into my why, because I was raised here. I get to see multiple different perspectives of what DeKalb County was, is, and potentially can
Mm,
be. Because I was raised here. I'm raising my children here. And I'm not sure if I put it in my bio or not, but my husband teaches here in DeKalb County. He's one of the few Black male science educators. So we get to see it from all
oh, right.
sides. And I'm like, we should be doing so much better. And, over the years, we kind of wait and say, they'll get it right. I'm going to vote for this person to do A, B, and C. But at some point, it's just like, okay, I'm not getting what I want for me, for my children, their friends. So why not be the person to help get it done? And one
Mhm.
of the ways that I try to show the contrast or communicate that is by simply saying, in 2004, when I was being raised here, I feel like I had a better quality of life to look forward to than my children do in 2024. And they have access to all these resources, opportunities, people that we didn't have access to. And it's disheartening, it's disappointing. And so instead of pointing the blame, it's just like, I feel like I can do better. So I'm going to try.
Yes, Kat, you're muted.
You see me? I'm going. You do this right. I'm talking all. I'm that. Girl, go ahead. And y'all ain't hear none of
We
that.
didn't hear anything.
But
Mm-mm.
that's okay because I'm good for interrupting folks. So that was good that God had me on mute so you could say what you had to say. So I didn't know your hubby was teaching that. I didn't know
Millbrook
that.
Middle School. Mhm.
Yes, get out of here. So I know being out in the community, Karen and I both in the streets, and coming across people in your district, Super District 7, people still do not know what does that mean. What makes it Super District 7? Could you elaborate on that to your audience?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. And I'm glad when I get it in the community because that means people are paying attention and
Mhm.
they're actually interested in what's happening around them because they know they have the power to influence what happens in those areas. So DeKalb has 5, I'm going to call them regular county districts, where the county is divided into 5 parts. And traditionally, if you know much about DeKalb, everybody sees that north-south divide where we feel like the
Mhm.
northern part of the district gets more resources, opportunity, looks better, cleaner, safer, all that kind of stuff as compared to the southern part. And so to try to mitigate some of that, they created the super districts, which overlap those regular districts from north to south. So it divides the county in half, literally in half from north to south. So super district 7 is the entire eastern half so that
Mhm.
the super commissioner can help bridge the gap between the north and the south and try to bring equity.
Mhm.
And that's why it's really important to have the right people in that seat because not everybody can, like my husband say, relate from the streets to the elite. And you essentially
Oh,
do that because
ah,
there's a broad base of people from north to south. You have the most overburdened, underserved, all the way up to the wealthier few that live in some of those exclusive communities. So you have to be able to um, work with everybody and address the concerns of everyone because they vary very broadly. Very.
mhm, mhm.
They do. Because
What?
Brookhaven doesn't need the same thing that, the Panola Road area is going to need.
Exactly. Exactly. They're concerned about very
Yeah.
different things. On one side, it might be green space and, you know, they want funds for their pets, security,
Mm-hmm.
their pets. And then on the other side, it's like, I ain't worried about no dogs. I don't have nothing to eat. And, both of those are very valid. It's just whatever you
Different concerns.
to. Yeah, different concerns. And so having somebody who's level-headed enough and forward-thinking enough to be able to address all of that is really important, super important, especially for DeKalb.
So let me ask you this. I don't know who else was on the ballot with you. And so I never like to talk about. I follow Nike because I don't never see a commercial they talking about somebody else.
Um,
So why should people in Super 7 vote for you?
Oh, look, that's the number one question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, it's a host of different reasons. There isn't just one thing, it's the combination of what I have to offer. I think one of the biggest things that the most people will be able to agree with is the fact that I'll start with that Lorraine Cochran Johnson, who's now our CEO elect, she held this seat and she's been gone for 10 months. So now we have a vacancy on the board with what she was able to provide. And we know that in recent years, I would say as many as a decade or two, her level of service has been unseen during a period of time. And she equates it to her corporate experience. She knows business, she knows marketing, and we've lost that on the Board of Commissioners. I'm the only candidate who has it. I work in corporate America. I'm a chemist and program manager for, I don't know if I should say any brands, but one of the major beverage brands in Atlanta. So, globally, I do exactly what we need to see in the county. I put processes in place to help improve efficiency, service delivery, product quality, all of the things that we have a deficit in right now in DeKalb. And so if we want the level of service we were receiving before and we want to level up, then we have to put someone in a position who can understand all of that. But also because I'm a scientist, I'm data driven. We all talk about what we want in a community, but how do we measure that we're actually reaching the goal? And that's something I'm formally trained to do. I look at the numbers to determine where the deficits are, how to address the issue, and then I can measure if we're actually resolving the problem. And if not, look at the data and determine how to adapt and make it better. But because I started out as a community organizer, blend all of that together, I can feed into the emotional piece and make it humane because it's people that I'm serving. But in order to serve you at the best, I have to know business. I have to know corporate America, but I also have to have the numbers in order to measure the results and give us real results that we're looking for, because it's like we're at the brink in DeKalb where we can be extraordinary or extraordinary. And that we have to have the right balance of qualifications in that seat in order to get it done.
So
You know,
one of the
I'm so sorry. One of the things that I know what you want when you just said all of that data. Please, what are you going to do to be able to break that down for your constituents? Because what I find in leadership, we have policies, we're having processes, and then we just say, this is going to happen, citizens, and you either can vote yes or no, but there's really no history leading up to it. And so citizens are voting or not voting because they don't understand what's going on. So when you said you crunch the numbers, you look at the data, what are your plans to be able to pour that information out into your constituents so that they then too can give you their input? So when you're out looking for solutions, you're actually driving by what your voters have entrusted you with. You are telling them what they are telling you what they need for you to do for them. How are you including them in that decision-making process?
Good question. So one of the things I would love to implement when getting into the seat is a platform where we can update it real time with whatever policies we're trying to implement, initiatives. For example, we're going to have a lot of infrastructure improvements because we really need it in DeKalb, especially when it comes to roads and water infrastructure. But a real-time platform that the residents can tap into to see how the decisions that we're making are affecting their community specifically, and have it to where they can comment and communicate in that platform. Of course, we're going to do, town halls. We're going to go to their meetings, invite them to ours, where we can explain what's going on. But everybody isn't always available or able to be present. So we don't want to exclude them from the conversation. This is going to be an addition to what we already have, because the feedback is a part of the study to understand, make sure we're doing the work and people are seeing the results. So it's my responsibility to look at the data and digest it and then transform it into something digestible for the average person in that platform so they can comment and be a part of the conversation when we do it. But yeah, communication is key. And being in, corporate America, prior to that, I was a forensic chemist for the Army. Communication in every role that I've had has been important from top to bottom. So streamlining how we do that, making it consistent for people, easy to tap into and understand, is going to be number one priority, and making sure we're getting the job done. But multiple forms of communication, but I think especially something in real time, or where they can tap into and look at maps. We know colors, we know locations, stuff that's easy for them to digest. I'll do the hard part, but I just need them to be present and a part of the conversation.
Amen.
So, what are some of the things, since you've been running, what are some of the issues that you have identified that you want to work on when you get into that seat? So that's one. And then, what have you heard from your potential constituency, from your neighbors, from the people in the district as you have been traversing, through Super District 7, that folks have identified as their concerns? Because sometimes the two are not the same. So what have you identified, and what have the residents identified?
So for Team Bolton, the Bolton campaign, they're one and the same.
Okay.
What I am really proud about, and Kat had an opportunity to be a part of some of this, at every event that we have a community vision board that we post.
Okay.
And we are very adamant and maybe a little bit pushy about getting people to put their comments on that board. So we have, just some sticky notes and pens available when we tell them, what is it that you think I need to know as an incoming commissioner? What are your concerns? What are some things you would like to see? What are some positive things that you want to see continue to happen? I think we don't ask that question enough, and then we start changing stuff too much, and lose some of the benefits that we've had. So from our community vision board comments, that's how we came up with our collective of the priorities for the campaign, which we don't even call them priorities. We call them a community vision, because that's what the board is out of. And essentially, it's 3 things which can be broken down into smaller bullets. But overall, across all of District 7, those 3 things are: number 1, people want a better quality of life, which means getting back to the basics. And those basic things, our water infrastructure is poor, so much so that the EPD, Environmental Protection Agency, the local division, put a lawsuit against Dekalb County, like, y'all need to fix this. So, our water, our transportation isn't the best. And then, like everyone else across the country, we're dealing with a housing crisis, but we're uniquely positioned where our cost of living isn't as California or New York or Florida. But we're at the Mecca of the South, so we can do some things other areas can't. We can do a little better because people still see us as an area bustling with jobs and entertainment opportunities. So, quality of life for me are those 3 things. And then, of course, the other points are people want safer neighborhoods. And county services, which I kind of talked about a little bit before. County services is huge because we have such, I'm gonna be careful with my words, because our county services are not as efficient as they could be. For me, it essentially acts as a gatekeeper to businesses and other opportunities that we could have. At one time, there was a list of, I know for sure over 100, but I believe it was nearly 200 businesses that were
Mhm.
to DeKalb, but because our quality of life issues were out of order, they
Mhm.
legally were not allowed to bring their businesses here. But we
Oh,
kept them on the list. So when we got it together, we can try to solicit and bring them back. So, the average person isn't familiar with all of that
mhm.
stuff. But what we know is we don't have the businesses we would like to see. We don't have the
Okay.
sit-down restaurants in South DeKalb. We don't have the shopping districts. We know we don't have those things. So now it's why don't we have them? Because our infrastructure is bad. And we have to start there with quality of life.
So, and
Did
that,
you?
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
Because
Go ahead.
'cause
I
I
know this
thought
question. You look
when
like it's gonna
when you
go in
said
deep.
that, I thought about Stonecrest and
Mhm.
that area. I worked in DeKalb many years ago when Stonecrest was a concept and they were getting, they were thinking it was a whole overlay district and
Mm,
it was supposed to be like perimeter.
mm,
That was the initial concept. It was going to have hotels, the shopping, and then surrounding shopping and restaurants. And
mhm,
so when it came in, there were some hotels that came in. The mall
Mhm.
came, and then a lot of businesses left.
mm,
Restaurants came, and restaurants left. And
Mhm.
so, and I know people over there make money. I know people who live in South DeKalb spend money, they make money.
mhm.
Now we got Black
But
Wall Street over there, and
Yep, New
yeah,
York
Black
Street.
Wall Street is there. But
hmm
for whatever reason, it has not, the potential is there, but it
Mhm,
has not really done everything that it can do.
mhm.
And so is Stonecrest in I'm assuming that's part of Super District
It
7.
is in District 7, yes.
hmm
Have you
So
thought about any plans or anything that in particular that you'd like to do with Stonecrest area? I know it's in the city of
It
Stonecrest
is, which makes it somewhat of a gray area because everything has to go through the city
through there.
first.
Yeah.
As a county commissioner, technically, county commissioners are leadership for the unincorporated areas, these areas that are not cities. But of course, we absolutely have to work with the cities that are
Mhm.
there because they're, in the county and the district as well. So yeah, there should
When it was
absolutely
created, it was unincorporated DeKalb.
it was. So at that time, honey, they could have probably done a whole lot more. Yes,
Mhm.
Stonecrest is very young. Tucker is young. We have a
Mhm.
couple young cities. But the reason people form cities is because there are things that they feel like they're not getting from their county leadership. So they said, okay, well, let's add another layer of government that's more local, more intimate, and then maybe then we can start bringing those things to fruition that we would like to see. And in some cases, it's worked very, very well. Look at your Dunwoody's, and that go back to the north side, but
Yeah.
that's okay. It's some other things involved in that as well. But no, I would love to work with Mayor Jasmine Cabo. She and I have a good working relationship already. When I was vice president of the Young Democrat organization, we, worked with her a lot because she's younger with a family. A lot
Mhm.
of our members were able to relate to what she
Okay.
had going on. And so it's a lot. I mean, even when it comes to transportation in MARTA, a lot of what you may have heard is that folks have been wanting the train, we call it heavy rail, but have wanted the train to extend all the way down or all the way east through Stonecrest,
Mhm.
make commuting easier, access to jobs much better, access to healthier foods. But because there are so many moving parts when it comes to bringing anything, transportation, businesses, all of that, it
Mhm.
just, you got to work a little harder to get it
Yeah.
done. And everybody's vision isn't the same. So, really honing in on where our ideals overlap and then just push those areas in particular.
And so what people also don't understand is that when you're dealing with the municipality, so now that like Stonecrest is inside of an incorporated municipality, being the city of Stonecrest, if DeKalb wanted to do anything, if DeKalb County wanted to do anything inside of Stonecrest, they have to have what's called an intergovernmental agreement. So they have to actually like have a contract to be able to provide some services to Stonecrest Mall. It's probably not the overlay district anymore since it's not part of unincorporated DeKalb. But and so if they wanted to work with MARTA to bring light rail out, and if part of that is going through Lithonia, Stonecrest, the county, the cities, all of these different entities have to sign off on it, and yeah,
And
that's
people
see
don't.
that as well now, because some of that it's parallel to Georgia's transportation system.
yeah,
So it's a lot of layers, y'all. It's a lot of layers, but it can be done. We just
it
gotta
can.
come to the agreement, put the plan in place, and follow through. But have people who are really adamant about that follow through. I think that's the piece we miss, because we have meetings all the time,
Yeah,
plans in place all the time, comprehensive master plan, this and that. But it's that follow through piece that we're missing. So I think having the right folks in place who are used to, making those big decisions, especially coming out of corporate America or the Army, these huge entities that have to partner with all different organizations from private to public, it really will make a difference in this seat.
You mentioned about being a veteran, and I'm big on vets as I'm being one, and mental health. And I had the opportunity to do some work with now your commissioner, your chair, um, Lorraine Cochran Johnson, and she was very, very active in coming out to a nonprofit by the VA in your district. That she was very active in making sure that she was present and supporting the food that we provided to veterans who unfortunately are experiencing food insecurities and unsheltered and mental health issues. And she was a huge champion in that space for her district. What are your plans to regarding that space, and how does that look like for you?
Don't do that. I'm gonna lean right on you. Yeah, what of our plans? So I did a little bit of that with both, Kat keeps me informed, and then quite a bit with Osborne Murray, who has been great. He's the one who even introduced me to the concept, but I met him through my god sister, Teek Sophia, who's a retired veteran. She was injured over in Afghanistan so many years ago. But just coming out of a family full of veterans. My dad a Marine, my brother's Army National Guard. I mentioned that I'm a former forensic chemist for the Army. And so having that familiarity, I really do understand and empathize with what's going on. But because I am not myself a veteran, I have to lean on you guys in order to do the work. I love what has been happening, and I would love to continue to partner and getting that work done, and bringing in more folks across the cab. One of the things that Osborne would tell me is that, again, back to these county services, y'all, he works, of course, with Gwinnett, DeKalb, I believe Clayton, and some of the other surrounding counties, but he has the most trouble supporting veterans in DeKalb. And that's really disheartening, because we have quite a few unhoused veterans. We have the VA right here. We have the resources and services, but they're just not easy to acquire. An example of that, Kat, I remember when you reached out to me, there was a gentleman who had his voucher, but couldn't find housing. And so, I'm talking to Osborne, talking to one of the commissioners who's also a veteran, a couple other people that I'm familiar with, and we're just not informed enough to get the work done. The resources are there, but the gap in information sharing and implementation is where we fall short. So that's really important to, I believe, bringing together a community of informed veterans willing to do the work, to basically be advisors as to what we can do from that side. And then from our side as commissioners, okay, we can bring this in. Can you help us put this path together so we continue to push forward? But that relationship is going to be super important because we fall so short when it comes to veterans in DeKalb County.
Yes. Well, that sounds like you're going to have you a veterans committee.
There we go.
A
and
citizens veteran advisory committee.
Good. Look at her. Application approved.
Uh-oh.
President, Miss President.
Look, girl, I'm already look, I already got a chair. Well, you know what so I'm already chair of a veterans committee now. So, girl, in Gwinnett. So, but you're right. There are a lot of resources and people can volunteer to do that. And it doesn't matter where you live. You have the time, the talent, and the treasures, come on out, because people will receive that. Because we feed veterans with the nonprofit that I work with in DeKalb County, and veterans come from all over Georgia, as far as Macon. Savannah. People drive. And so one of the things that, again, working with other organizations that provide food, is we need to be able to do this stuff in these cities. It makes no sense that a veteran is driving that far to try to get food. Dude, I've actually seen people drive scooters.
Really?
Oh wait, am I shining?
Yes, you're doing that.
Shining.
Mine's not doing it.
I know. I'm God's favorite, right?
So okay.
She's on an iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah, but I lost my train of thought. The veteran came on a motorcycle, a scooter, and we give over 100 pounds of food, 75 to 100 pounds of food. I'm like, dude, but that's all they had. I actually had to drive somebody because they called a taxi cab. So people are doing everything that they're doing to get there. So the need is there. And then we still have to remember we have sick and shut in veterans who need it but can't get out to get it. So there is a space for a lot of that to bridge that gap in your district as well. So like I said, go ahead.
One thing I wanted to do during COVID, and you reminded me of it, which I think would be great to do here because the community is a little bit smaller. DeKalb does a lot of food distributions. They were doing them a whole lot more during COVID. But my thing was only, like you were saying, only folks who has access to transportation can actually get to the distribution center. And so I would do some driving with different organizations and did drop-offs. And you would just be amazed at how many people were in need of like a real distribution where we're taking food to them because they're immobile for, whatever reason. Yeah. And it's like, are we really meeting the need if we're not getting it to the people that don't have the access to receive? So I would love to
Meals on Wheels.
Several.
Absolutely.
It's mostly churches too, who I would do it with, different churches that would do those distributions. But not so much now. They kind of slowed down on that.
What are some of your plans for our senior population?
Ooh, honey. Do y'all know Miss Cheryl Smith? That's my girl.
I don't.
So Cheryl, she doesn't have an official position or anything like that, but she does have a nonprofit. She's a senior, but she has a nonprofit where she works with seniors. And the thing that she's most known for is the senior gala every year. That's been, that's been her claim to fame. And so I've worked with her on that a little bit because for whatever reason, she doesn't always get the financial support to put it on. Because her goal every year is to make it free for the seniors, and I love it. Moving forward, of course, because she's not getting the support, she's may look at supplementing that with asking them to put something toward it. But in any case, she and I have conversations all the time. And what was birthed out of that, and I think it's the most important thing out of that list that we created, is when we talk about affordable housing, we lump everybody into the same group. We look at the average median income. But affordable housing, I believe, needs to be separated between the average working family or individuals and seniors. Seniors cannot be put into the same pocket because there's no way what's affordable for me, a working person, is affordable for someone on a fixed retirement income. And so that was one of the big things, especially considering if they've been in their home for years and need repairs, the least we can do is help them stay in their homes or transition into homes that are more affordable, but just as nice and valuable. And so that's something that she and I are going to work toward when we are in the seat, because she has that relationship with the seniors already. She's my eyes and ears to help share the information, bring me into the communities. But the hardships that they're seeing, when it comes to the taxes that they're paying, they always tell me how in other counties, I believe Gwinnett is one of them, seniors don't pay, either they don't pay school tax at all, or they don't have to pay their property taxes.
It's school tax.
Mhm. Right. So they get they don't pay the school tax, but then they have the homestead exemptions in addition to that. So they're paying significantly less. Whereas in DeKalb, it's kind of like, we'll see y'all on the other side.
Get in where you fit in.
I know, right?
Make that check payable to the DeKalb County Tax Commissioner.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I hear that a lot. Like housing has been the biggest concern because they are on that fixed income. And you know what? I'm a data person, and people tell me stop talking numbers so much, because people they want that feel good message. Talk to my heart, but it's numbers for me. 1 in 7 people are classified as seniors. That's a lot of people in DeKalb County, a whole lot of people. And so if we're not considering them as a separate population when we're talking about safety and housing and quality of life and transportation, as Florida has come up as well, accessibility, then we're not meeting the need of 300,000 people in the county. So, those conversations are becoming more and more important as we start to age in place. That's the term we use now, aging. But absolutely. All of that is a part of the conversation.
So, Dr. Bolton, tell everyone how they can reach you to find out more about your campaign, about the runoff on December 3rd, and to assist you in some of the goals that you have
Oh,
told
man.
us about today.
Let me start here. We need a lot of help. We do. Runoffs are quick, expensive.
Yes.
We need a lot of help and a lot of support. We're looking at the numbers, seeing the areas where we need to nurture those relationships a little more, listen a little more, versus those that we, pretty much saturated with our message. And so we need help reaching your communities. So we're very responsive. When I say we, me and my team, there's nothing I can do without my team. They have been exceptional in every part of what we do, including Kat. I don't know if I was supposed to say that part, but she's amazing anyway. So I'm going to put that out there. But no, so my email address is joinus@boltonfordecab.com. Also, if you go to the website, Bolton for DeKalb, you can sign up to help in the way that fits your schedule or your capacity the best. But even on Instagram, which is Bolton for DeKalb, or Facebook, Bolton for DeKalb, you can send us a message. We're very responsive. We're always looking for help. Whatever your expertise is, we work within the boundaries of that, and we let you do your thing. Because one thing I say about my team, what I really love about us, is that we're not institutionalized by the way things have always been. We try all sorts of new things because there's so much noise out there. We want to reach the people, so we have to be really creative. And I think my team may not see themselves as creative, but naturally want to work outside of the box. And I let them, hey, go do your thing. And it turns out to be just amazing every time. And so bring your talents. That's what I want you to do. Email, message us on social media, and just bring your talents, because we need it all.
Yes.
Lovely.
And bring your questions, community. If this is your candidate for your District 7, you're in her district, run down the cities right fast that's in your district so people will know they need to go vote.
Absolutely. Y'all, 4 weeks. It's not even 4 whole weeks anymore. 3 weeks and some days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. December 3rd.
What's the cities that you represent in your right fast?
Right
You,
fast. So from top to bottom, we have Doraville, Tucker, Stone Mountain, Stonecrest, Pine Lake, all the way down to River Road in Ellenwood.
wow.
Right.
That's a
And
lot.
again, yeah, you can reach Dr. Bolton via email at joinus@boltonfordecab.com. And the website is boltonfordecab.com. And you can also reach her via IG and Facebook at Bolton for DeKalb. And Bolton is spelled Bolton. That's Bolton for DeKalb. Thank
Yes,
you,
yes,
sister, for
yes.
joining us.
I
Like
know,
we
right?
My first interview for the runoff, honey.
I know,
Ah,
right?
well,
Right
we
here on
feel
Conversations with
honored.
Cat the Cat.
We feel honored. And
Yes,
so
girl.
you wear multiple hats.
Mm-hmm.
You are employed. You are a mom. You're a wife. You're in the community. You're active in your in your other civic organizations, your sorority,
Non-profit. Mm-hmm.
nonprofit. What do you do to ensure that you are pouring from your saucer
Yes.
and not your cup? Point.
I think that was the hardest question of the evening. Um, I don't have a real
Pouring from your overflow. What do you do for your self-care?
I honestly, I don't really have self-care, but I feed off the energy of community. That has been the driving force for me throughout because we've been doing this a long time. I think
Mhm.
we kicked it off maybe July last year, so over a year. And when I say my team, my village, my family, the community at large, just how excited and energetic they are about being informed, that that keeps me. That it really does. I'll give you some examples of it makes me feel so good. And it might even sound cliche, but like y'all, I've never been so sure of anything in my life. And so
Mm.
have a lot of young people that work with us, like teenagers and stuff. And so, on election night, when they choose to come to our watch party just to watch the results, and they're hanging around with these other politically informed adults talking about what's the strategy for the runoff. And it's like we've normalized it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't my life when I was a teenager. Like,
Mm-hmm.
in my 20s, I didn't think about
Mhm.
stuff like that, and to see young people or the average person who they would normally forget about, reaching when it comes to politics, we bring all those people in and make them feel like they're a part of the team, and they work hard, and they're so loyal, and I'm just like, this is unbelievable. And I know it's not me. It's just the environment that the team and community creates to bring in folks who are seen as less informed, whether they're just not consistent voters or don't vote at all, don't care nothing
Mm.
about politics. Like, we have some of everybody. And I just love to see how they feel encouraged to be a part of the conversation and become so informed by the end of it all. It's really impressive. And I'm like, if they can transition like that, I could keep going. I love it. It feels really good. Really.
God will send you who you need, girl.
Ah,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But Sister LaDena,
I know.
the very next time after you win this election and we have you back on, when
Mm-hmm.
either Sister Cat or myself ask you,
Mm-hmm.
how do you serve from your saucer, your
Mm-hmm.
overflow, and what are you doing for your self-care? You need to have an answer.
Oh,
You
okay.
need, you need to intentionally be
Yep.
doing something that is just for you. Because I'm going to tell you,
Yep.
as you move into this next phase, because you're going to win. But as
Yeah.
you move into this next phase, you're going to have more things on your plate. And you have to ensure that if it's nothing but 15, 20, 30 minutes each day, that you carve out some time that's just yours. If that means getting up a little bit earlier, take 15 minutes to go have some prayer time, to go sit and just have your coffee out on your back porch, your back deck or something, you do that. But you make sure that it's time just carved out for you, for
Amen.
something that brings you just a little bit of peace.
Amen.
I
And
know.
if I might suggest, the reason that we ask this question, sister, is because we want to help empower people to be able to give it some thought. Because it is a tough question, because you know what it does? It makes us go inward. And now
Mm,
we have to be accountable to ourselves. And
mm.
so if you are not alone. That's why we ask that question. We ask it every episode. And so I encourage our listeners, if this is you and you're like, okay, I do something, but maybe I need to figure out some other ways. Check out our episodes. We have every episode, there's somebody at the end, from the district attorney to other leaders in communities to mom and pops. Please check it out, because you know what? We need you on the front line, sister. And you can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself. Okay?
I
That
know. I know.
that part. You
Yeah.
know it, now put it into action.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
that's
right.
my biggest
So all
tip.
of that said, we love you. We thank
Yes,
God for you, and we rooting for you, because we're gonna be on them streets with you, girl. All right.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. To
You.
our listeners, as always, we want you to, if you like this episode, you enjoyed it, make sure that you subscribe and you comment wherever you find us. Either you're listening or you're watching us on YouTube or on our website. If you're following us on IG, Facebook, make sure that you subscribe to Conversations with Karen and Kat. And as always, thank you for joining us on this episode.
Well, we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.